Hi guys, welcome back to lesson 2 of the Progressive House track in Cubase 10. I'm Jay from bornsblues.com, and in the last lesson we brought in a kick drum and made a very simple chord progression with the help of Cubase chord pads. But we're going to make this sound a lot better because at the moment it is extremely boring. Okay, so the first thing you can do here is to funk this up is to change the timing. Now what is a good thing to do? In fact, what I'm going to do is just glue this all together to start with. So highlight everything and glue it all together, and then zoom back in, and then we can double click it. It's all in one section now. See, here's a little trick for you. If you bring in the next chord half a beat earlier, it immediately gives the progression sort of a bit of rhythm and interest. So that's immediately made a difference. Let's just, rather than go up to an F, let's go over to a, so let's just enlarge the parts and bring in a C. So we'll just copy that and Alt or Option, copy that across. So the first bit's just going to go like this. And we're going to go back to a D. This is kind of like the intro, if you like, to the chord progression. Now we don't want that one to come in a half a beat earlier. Let's bring that back to normal time, and then it keeps the rhythm going. And we'll hold that for another few beats until the end of the fourth bar. So zoom in with H. Probably extend that a little bit longer. Enlarge part again. Just highlight that and click Control D. So now we've got that bit twice. Okay, so we just need to extend this loop region all the way across, and the MIDI part as well. So we're going to be working on a 16 bar loop now, so might as well highlight those kicks and Control D those across as well. So we've got a nice little intro now to our chord progression, and then it's going to come into the nice chord progression that goes down and up. Again, that's a bit boring, so let's bring that in half a beat earlier. And basically we're just playing around with this all the time until we get something that we like, and listen to the chords before it as well, so you can see if it sort of sounds nice or not. See, if you have too many times when it comes in half a bit earlier, it doesn't sound quite as good as if you just vary it up and have the odd one coming in earlier. Then we've got the A sharp or B flat. That one's probably going to want to come in earlier, but let's just put this on 8th. That's basically the quantized setting, so just in case you're brand new to Cubase, it's whether it snaps to the grid and how big the grid is, basically. So if you've got it on 2, for example, it's only going to snap to these lines here, these half beats. Yeah, that definitely wants to come in half beat before. So let's move that over and probably back to normal on the bar here. Let's have a listen. Let's just go back a bit. I'm sort of lost where I am. Let's go back to I think we need to hold this, and we will be using different tensions in these points here, so they're not just the same note held over for 2 bars. They will be varying. I'll show you that next. Okay, let's just drag that last one out so it fills the ends of the 16 bars. And then we have a 16 bar progression, but it still needs a bit more beefing up. It's just still a little bit, although we've changed the timing and it's better, we still need to give this a bit of pizzazz. So what I'm going to do now is start messing around with these chords to make them a bit more jazzy. So we'll come in here. So what we can actually do here is start adding in bass notes. So this is a D chord, we'll bring in a D chord here, and you can start messing around with inversions. So you could put, for example, the F up an octave, just for an example. I just highlighted the note, press down Shift and the up key. Or we can take out the F altogether and try another D, an octave above. Yeah, see, I quite like that, you see, taking out the F there. Just Control Z that just to compare, just to undo. So you can just mess around with chords like this, you know, as long as you're within the sort of structure of the chord, you can put them in different places, it's fine, different octaves. They're just called inversions. With this one as well, I'm just wondering whether we should do a C stroke D chord. So what that is a C chord where the root is going to be a D, not a C. I think that's going to sound quite funky. Let's have a look. That all just sounded a little bit too low, too much in the low register, so let's just bring these bottom 2 and press Shift and up and see if that helps. Yeah, quite like that. So let's just get rid of that C there and copy this C here. So we're going sorry, D, that's a D, sorry, so copy that D. So we're going D, C, D. Now it's a bit confusing to any beginners because we've got D, 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 and you can't even follow this bottom one here because it goes D, G, D as opposed to D, C, D. So the chords are D, C, D, and this is a C chord. It's just been inverted, that's all. It's just a variation. It's what you can get on the voicings here. And to create this chord in your chord pad, you would choose your different voicings here on this right hand toggle. That's doing all your different inversions for you. And if you want to make it a C stroke D, so in other words with a D bass note, there you go, look, C stroke D. Gives it a kind of a jazzy effect, I guess. Sounds like a musical. And this is where you choose your major and minors. And this is where you choose your tensions. Just click them again to get them off. And this is where you choose your bass note. And when you hover over these things, it tells you what it is anyway. Look, bass note, tensions, etc. So that's how you change your chord pads if that's what you want to do. And then you can drag it in. So you can either change them whilst they're in or change them on the chord pads and then drag them in. It's entirely up to you. So we need to extend that out. See, that sounds quite cool. If this was a C, it would still work, of course. But there's much more of a change with that, whereas this one sounds quite cool. So now that as this is repeated, we can get rid of that highlight all of those there and Control D across. So our next chord in the progression is F, which is this one here, but it doesn't sound quite cool enough yet. Yeah, it just sounds very bog standard, that F, because it is a bog standard F major. And if you highlight all your chords over here, it's telling me that it's an F. So it's really super simple. And if you come over here and click minor, it will change it for you. So it's another way of creating chords if you're not too sure of where they go. And you can change your inversions here as well. That's down inversion, that's up inversions. Just going to try putting this A up one, which will turn it into a sus, I believe. Just highlight them all. Yeah, F sus4. So yeah, already that sounds so much more interesting than the bog standard F. Yeah, 100 times better. And we haven't got a bass note in here yet, so let's draw in a bass note. So maybe a B or A sharp. So basically that one there is B flat. Let's try that. And that is a B flat sus2. Yeah, sus chords are superb for adding interest to your progressions. So we're definitely funking this up now. It's just now we've funked it up quite a bit that when you come across a standard triad chord, it just sounds a bit boring now. So C chord, I think we've already got a nice C chord over here, which we can maybe copy. Whether that'll work in this situation, I don't know. Let's try that on C1. The original root note that it should be. Maybe try C in there as well. By the way, we do have a course on all of this, on chord progressions and how to write killer melodies, and basically a beginner's guide to music theory. If this is getting a little bit complex for some people, trying to keep this as simple as possible, but that's on the screen at the moment. That's a very long course with a very clear and concise explanations as to how to write these sort of hooks and melodies, but in a really sort of simplified way, and it doesn't give you any of this sort of fluff which a lot of other courses do. It just gives you the meat and potatoes of what you actually need to write really cool electronic music. Put a bass note in here on this G. Let's add an extra note. We'll duplicate the D to thicken this up a bit. Just go back a bit and listen in context. That is where we can probably copy some of these over, because this is the A sharp B flat chord. Maybe try that. And there's another C. We can copy this C here, which is different to the C at the start here. Let's grab this C with the two C root notes. It's a nice big sounding C. So we'll drag that in there. And then we've got a rather boring D. So let's get rid of that boring D and choose the one we like, which we made at the very start of this progression. And let's have a listen to all of it, apart from that intro bit. We don't need to hear that every single time. We'll just listen to one half of that. Okay, we're almost there with this chord progression. It's not quite, it's not quite there because you've got a long note here which could be jazzed up a little bit more. But this lesson's gone on long enough, so we're going to address that in the next lesson, and also probably bring in the melody that is going to sit over the top of this beautiful chord progression that we're making. So, all the best, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.